Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. My name is Blythe Daylong. I'm the Executive Director of the Adelphi University Performing Arts Center. Thank you so much for joining me and choosing to spend some time with Adelphi. Now, while we aren't quite able to have audiences in person, we continue to use this show to bring Adelphi's talented students, faculty, alumni, staff, and other guests to you each episode. Now, this week, we'll be taking a look at Larry Kegwin's piece from Dance Adelphi just a few weeks ago, and speaking with dance student Sarah Ream about that process and to get a preview of the upcoming dance showcase performances happening this weekend. Then, I'll be speaking with Professor James Oshinsky, who's the director of the Department of Music's Improvisation Ensemble, about their upcoming recital. And finally, I'll share a performance from the Adelphi Vocal Ensemble recital this past weekend. Now, I'm excited to announce that this week is really basically the end of our season. We made it all the way through. Special thanks to everyone for coming together to make it work the best we could, both behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everywhere around. It was a monumental effort that took the work of people all over the university, including our incredible students and faculty and staff who all really stepped up to bring you all the great programming that we were able to bring you this year. Now, I'm also personally excited to announce that this is the last weekly episode of this show. Now that the semester is ending, I'm going to take a couple weeks off from the show, and then we'll be back in our new monthly format on Monday, June 14th. Going forward, we'll be doing this show the second Monday of each month until who knows when. So let's start this week with talking about dance. A few weeks ago, the Department of Dance held their Dance Adelphi performances. Here to talk about that is Department of Dance student Sarah Ream. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of this. I know we are right on the verge of finals, and so I appreciate, and you're getting ready for Dance Showcase, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So thank you for taking the time to join us tonight to talk about both your experience on Dance Adelphi and what we have coming up this week.
Of course.
So go ahead, please.
So you're about to see Larry Kegwin's piece, and that was just a great experience working with him. We were so grateful to have him here, such a man with such great credentials. It was really great. It was a great experience, and he was very open to having us have our own ideas. He was very collaborative. And yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, had you obviously you've been here and you've done pieces choreographed by your faculty, you work with them all the time. Had you worked with a guest faculty member before, a guest choreographer before, and how is that process different than when you're working with your faculty that you're seeing on an almost daily basis?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You don't understand like their personality and how their rehearsals work, where you're seeing your own professors every single day and you know how they work. But we were really lucky to have him because he was super nice. He really got to know us the very first day. He wanted to know all of our names, and he got to really understand like who we were as dancers.
That's really fantastic. And yeah, he had been on our list for a few years and was going to be with us this past fall. And then when everything went crazy, we were like, let's hold off on this and save you for a little bit later. But then he did a lot of online work, with other companies and prior to working here. So we really knew he'd be able to figure out a way to handle the in-person and the Zoom and all of that rehearsing and everything. Because you guys did a little bit of both, right? He was here sometimes in the studio and sometimes virtually, right?
Yeah, he definitely made it work. That man was all over the place doing tons of things. So he was definitely zooming in for some rehearsals, but we still made the best of it.
That's great. And so this piece is called Circles and Squares. And is there anything else you want to add about the piece before we share it with everyone?
Sure. So he kind of introduced us to the piece and told us how it was about different like animalistic techniques and sections. And so he kind of explained to us how that he grouped us based on different dancer qualities, height, kind of who he saw like working well together. And so his hope for the piece was to get that to come across. So while you're watching, if you see different groupings, you can kind of see like different animal tactics, I guess you could say.
Okay, good. No, that's always interesting to know, and to know a little more about the process and from the people that were a part of creating it. So here is Larry Kegwin and his piece, Circle and Squares.
Hi, my name's Larry Kegwin. I'm a choreographer living and working in New York City, and I was really excited to have the opportunity to work with the dancers at Adelphi University. We had great fun, and we created a work titled Circles and Squares, which is exactly that, a dance about design and created using tools of design. People ask me sometimes, Larry, how do you group people together? And it's pretty organic. I look at people, I look at common denominators. I see, oh, that group looks like they look like cats. So I'll group all the dancers that feel and look and dance and move like a cat or a different animal. Or I'll group them in height, or I will group them by friendship or who I think might collaborate well together. So I invite you to look at all the different groupings and see if you see animal kingdoms or what it is that you take away from it. So enjoy the dance, circle, and squares.
Well done. Well done to everyone involved, all the dancers, and to Larry for putting that together. It's such a great piece and so fun to watch again.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and so as we mentioned earlier, we are right on the edge of the end of the semester. We're about to go into finals. So Dance Showcase is coming up this weekend. Now, this is where we show a lot of work that you guys have been doing in class and pieces you've been working on in class, as well as things that folks have been doing on their own, some student choreography. It's a whole mix of things. So tell us what you're doing as part of these performances of Dance Showcase later this week.
Yes. So this dance showcase is really special. The spring showcase has the seniors' capstones in them, which is the projects that we work on for the entire semester. And they're supposed to represent like what we've learned and what we've grown from the past 4 years. So for this showcase, I am a senior, so I will be presenting my capstone, and I'm doing a solo from Paul Taylor's Company B. And then
Great.
I also created a dance film, which is more on the jazz side because I kind of came from a jazz background.
Okay, nice.
Incorporate both like modern and jazz. And it was really fun to create like a dance film, something I never thought would happen before the pandemic, but
sure. Yeah. We certainly didn't think we would be doing it either. So yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys did some really creative work with some of the films that were part of Dance Showcase in the fall, and there were some great things there. So I'm looking forward to some more of those dance films that you guys have put together, and then some more great work that you guys will be doing live on stage in the Olmsted Theater. As with Dance Adelphi, there'll be a lot of it happening live. And I will mention, so again, that is this Friday, May 14th at 7:30 p.m. And then again on Saturday, May 15th at 2 p.m. An important thing for everyone to know, both programs will be different. There are some pieces that will be on both Friday night and Saturday night afternoon, but then there are some pieces that will only be on Friday night, and there are some pieces that will only be on Saturday afternoon. So be sure to either check out both, which is certainly my recommendation, or make sure that you talk to the dancers that you want to make sure you see to get them and the pieces that they're going to be doing. So as always, tickets are on our website. It is free, but you do need to register in advance to be able to get the link, to be able to watch the shows on Friday and Saturday. So thank you again, Sarah, so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
To be here. Anything else you want to add before we go?
Yeah, definitely check out Showcase. And like Blythe said, both shows are different. So come support.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And, you guys always do really great work. So I'm glad we're able to kind of end the semester with some great dance. So thank you again. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Take care. So also this week, coming up on Tuesday, tomorrow, the Department of Music has its final ensemble showcase Tuesday night, Music Showcase Part 2. It is a recital by both the Jazz Ensemble and the Improvisation Ensemble. Now, to tell us more about this particular recital, and to share a piece from the Improvisation Ensemble, I spoke earlier this weekend to the director of that ensemble, James Oshinsky, and here is that conversation, as well as a brief performance from the Improvisation Ensemble. Enjoy. So I am here with James Oshinsky. James is the leader of our Adelphi's Improvisation Ensemble within the Department of Music. Now this is a course that you teach. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. I know you're teaching right now, so we're pre-recording this earlier. And so to give everyone a sense, you are part of the Improvisation Ensemble as part of the show on Tuesday night. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, what is an improvisation ensemble as far as music is concerned?
Well, the idea of the improvisation ensemble is to get students who may have only had prior experience reading printed music comfortable and bold when it comes to exploring improvisation, both in a solo setting and as an ensemble, improvising together.
Okay.
This is a very unusual year for that because of the restrictions that were put in place because of COVID. but we roll with it and, created a hybrid kind of experience where some of the class was in person, but not on the instruments that the students were more or less specializing in, because I had 2 wind players and 2 singers, and the things that we're not allowed to do indoors is sing or play wind instruments.
Right.
So a great deal of the class involved percussion and involved pianos and mallet instruments, because those could be played.
Gotcha.
And in some ways, I mean, music is music.
Right.
If you get the idea that improvisation begins with an inner impulse, and then might most come out with your inner voice. Whatever you would have sung is what you might play on your instrument, so that you're learning fluency to sing with your fingers when you play. Anything you try to approach that way, it's going to, even if it's an attempt rather than a success, it's going to improve your fluency on the instrument.
Sure.
As you try to realize the music that's in your head. But we start very simple. The class is a required class in the senior year for music ed majors.
Okay.
So a good deal of what I try to do is to keep things simple enough at the beginning that they can also translate everything they learn in the class into lessons that they're going to be giving when they're out and working as music teachers in public school settings.
Sure.
Where they can incorporate improvisation into band, orchestra, chorus, general music at various age levels and ability levels. So that the course is offered with that in mind, that it has a performance component and a music ed component all the way through, no matter what the mix of students in the class is.
Got it, which makes sense, because I mean, you're right. It is, it is a different kind of skill, and most people, when they think of learning music and learning that, especially when you're growing up, it is all, here is this piece of music written down, and you're going to play it, whether it's scales or a song or whatever, and you don't get a lot of chance to just figure out how that goes together.
Well, it depends how far back you go, because if you go back to preschool and kindergarten, we encourage everybody to be a composer.
True.
We encourage everybody to make stuff up and play. And in fact, what we need to do at times with folks who have had some of that creativity acculturated out of them from fears of judgment and criticism and the perfectionistic standards that they have to live up to from NISPA on up, we have to get them comfortable playing and comfortable with their playfulness, their spontaneity, their willingness to not do everything that's planned and safe, but to trust their inner musicality. And a lot of the time, that musicality, if it's nurtured in improvisation, has application immediately into how they approach standard music, written music settings. If you want people to blend better, teach them blending out of nothing, so that they have to create blending, and that's all they're doing. They don't, so the blend is a spontaneous event. So a lot of what we do in the improvisation ensemble is start with the equivalent of a blank canvas. We start with a blank 3 minutes, and the students fill the 3 minutes, and they learn how. They learn how to be in a support role with each other, when to lay out and be silent to create contrast, so that if we have a quartet, all 4 people aren't always playing all the time.
Sure.
So they learn the importance of taking a risk and making a melodic statement or a rhythmic statement. So between solo, support, and silence, that's sort of the 3-legged stool that the improvisation music rests on.
I think that's great, and such a great, nice way to sum up what this is and what the purpose of the course is and what really you're trying to do with this ensemble, because I think it is one of those areas that you don't hear a lot about, especially if you're not in the music world, or you just associate like, oh, improv, that's just jazz, right?
Right. Verse and chorus and so on, or rock music leads, and then it's really hard to tell well, from a listener standpoint, who's improvising and who isn't?
Right.
You know, when you're listening, you don't know if it was written before and they're just playing it well, or
Right.
if they're really taking that risk, working without a net and making up something on the spot. The best improvisers, you know, you wouldn't know that it
Sure.
wasn't composed, or it was composed right then and there.
Right. Exactly. That it was, you know, that it is a spontaneous kind of moment and not, you know, something planned out.
Sure, but it could certainly have all the things that we want composed music to have, like tell a story, like have good form,
Sure.
like be articulated well and intoned well, and so on. But you know, improvisation can have all of that.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think, you know, I think that's a great way to get everyone to kind of understand the basics of this. So you've sent us a video that you guys did. This is a great example of also some ingenuity where it's like, okay, well, how can we can't do this inside. We can't be in this group. So we have a parking garage on campus. And, you know, so that allowed you some space where you could be outdoors. You're in a controlled environment. And you went ahead and filmed a piece of their, you know, of their class and an exercise they're doing for that. So tell us about what we're about to see.
Well, we're near the end of a semester. We've had, we meet twice a week. So we've been meeting for 28 meetings altogether in the class. And I want to give credit to the music department administration and the administration above them, who were able to come up with an answer to the question, which is, how far away do we have to be in order to make music safely, you know, outdoors?
Sure.
So as soon as it was warm enough, that we raised that question, and they came back and said, you know what? You have folks who are vaccinated in the class. You have folks who are, you're going to be more than 6 feet apart. You're going to be, you know, singing or playing wind instruments. Outdoors, that's okay. And that was a great thing for the students who would basically have been chomping at the bit, you know, to not only play in a studio format at home in front of their computers, but also to play spontaneously live with each other. The problem, as your listeners will know, is that when you try to do this on computer, everybody's computer connection is at a slightly different speed, and you can't synchronize. You can't really play in rhythm, certainly not spontaneously, because what you're hearing is not happening when you think it's happening.
Exactly.
So there's no substitute for learning improvisation, ensemble improvisation live. I mean, it has to be done that way for people to have the tools and the sound. So at any rate, outdoors was great, and then it rained. So now where can we go? We go into the parking garage, which has the interesting side benefit of having reverberation like a cathedral. So everything we played there was just beautiful. And I just gave them, I said, how about, this is at the end of the semester, so I can say this. I said, play for about 3 minutes. They played for about 3 minutes. I did not tell them what to play. I didn't tell them what mood to set or how to interact with each other. They've practiced that for a semester. So they were ready to do exactly what you see in the video.
Oh, great. Well, this is an interesting and fascinating look at part of the process of this. And so here is this video that the Improv Ensemble shot recently in the parking garage. Enjoy. Great. So an excellent job by the students, and that really gives you a good sense of kind of how that interpersonal dynamic works, and how them being together is so important, and so critical to really making that work, and hearing each other in real time, and everyone being able to react to each other, and not just one person was first and then someone was second, and that kind of thing. So now, what are we going to see as part of the recital on Tuesday night?
Well, this recital, I had to put some thought into what would work, and what of the semester would be important to include. And so, since a lot of what is possible to do with synchronizing and stuff, that will work if a person is recording themselves at home, because whatever they do on their own computer, the timing is going to be fine.
Right.
So we did something that actually borrows a bit from Bobby McFerrin and what he does with his vocal groups, in that one person starts an improvisation and finds their way into something that they'd like to repeat. And for all the students, each student did that separately for themselves, and created a baseline track, so to speak, but finding it in an improvisational way. And then they added on another part that went the same way. They listened to their first improvisation, and when they went into the repeated part, they started improvising again on a second track and added a new layer. And so on with 3 or 4 layers. So you're going to hear a layered piece from each of the students, in which all of the parts are improvised. And again, you wouldn't necessarily know for some of them that it wasn't composed, but none of this is composed. This is all spontaneous creation. It's the sort of thing that one could also do with a looper pedal, if you had that kind of technology available. But of course, you can lay down those tracks separately on the computer as well. Right. So that's what they did for their layered piece. And then they also created a backing track for solo improvisation. Okay. So they either did a song that they knew, or created their own backing track, or used a music -1 recording and did a more traditional verse and chorus kind of improvisation over a song where they knew the changes. But the point is that what they sent was supposed to leave the roots on, so to speak. The way you pick a carrot or a potato. The way they recorded it is the way that we get to hear it, as an honest reflection of improvisation, as opposed to cleaning it up at all afterwards. Right, and making it something more polished and repeat, and yeah. So that's 3/4 of the recital, is individual pieces that the students recorded at home, and then Dennis Sullivan came and videotaped at least one of our classes, where we're able to do some ensemble indoor improvisations on percussion and on pianos and mallet instruments. And so interspersed with the individual work is some of that ensemble work. And to hold the whole thing together, what we did was we picked a bunch of quotes about music. So that mainly because there isn't a video for the layered pieces. In other words, if you have 4 layered pieces, you're going to do 4 videos. Right. So what we have is sort of like the sherbet in between all of the courses. Is there'll be a board up that shows an inspirational quote about music. And I don't want people to think that the improvisations are to those particular quotes. They're not. Right. They're free improvisations. But the quotes will give everybody something to clear their minds and think about in between one piece and the next. Interesting, which is nice, and also kind of gives it a little bit of structure as a program, and not just here's a bunch of videos we put together. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Well, that's excellent. And there's one other thing I would like to say, just because this was important to me. I learned improvisation at the feet of some amazing improvisation teachers. But one of them passed away this year, who I had been, particularly close to, the cellist, the Grammy-winning cellist, David Darling. passed this year, and there's at least the last quote I know is dedicated to him. And I would not be doing this were it not for all of the things that he taught me.
Which is fantastic, and I think also speaks back to what you were saying about the importance of the music education component of this class, is that part of this is also teaching them how to pass these skills along to other people and how to keep paying it forward, if you will, and keep that tradition alive.
There is something particularly important about how David taught, which was with relentless encouragement. And that is something that you don't always get in this kind of setting. But there's the only way to get people to feel safe enough to take the risks that are involved in doing something they've never done before and that might run into a wrong note or a clinker or some embarrassment or whatever, is to know that there's dignity in risk and that those risks are respected and celebrated, and that it's really about the process more than the product, although paradoxically, when that's what you emphasize, the product gets pretty damn good too.
Sure. Yeah, they go hand in hand. Absolutely. Well, great. Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk a little bit about what we can expect for the recital on Tuesday night and what the improv ensemble does, and for giving us a look into the hard work that these students have been doing all semester in learning this skill and also learning the fundamentals of it so they can pass that along as well.
Absolutely. And I think they'll be able to.
Yeah, which is excellent. And so the improv ensemble is part of our second music showcase that's happening on Tuesday, May 11th at 7:30 p.m. You are paired up with the jazz ensemble, which feels like a good pairing. And that'll be a really nice program to look forward to on Tuesday night. So I encourage everyone to head to our website. It is free, but you do have to register in advance to get the links and all that stuff. So as with everything else. So thank you again for being here, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you again, James. And once again, that is tomorrow night, Tuesday, May 11th at 7:30 p.m. The Adelphi Jazz Ensemble is also a big part of that program, and they always do really fantastic work as well, along with the Improvisation Ensemble. So that is, again, tomorrow, Tuesday, May 11th, as we wrap up our semester and our season. Tickets and registration for both Dance Showcase and the Improvisation Ensemble / Jazz Ensemble recital are available on our website. While you are there, do make sure, if you haven't already, which I can't imagine that you haven't if you watch this show regularly, but sign up for our email list. We will be making some great announcements over the course of the summer about our upcoming season, where we look forward to welcoming people back in person to the Performing Arts Center. So we are excited about that, but we have our Tuesday recital, our Friday and Saturday dance showcase to get through, and before we head into summer. So with that, we have come to almost the end of another episode. Thank you everyone for watching, especially those of you who watch week after week. I personally appreciate that. I'm going to close with a performance by the Adelphi Vocal Ensemble from this past weekend. So for now, everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, get vaccinated, and I will see you again on Monday, June 14th, when we switch to our monthly format. Have a great night, everybody.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Because of vision softly creeping, the deceased while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains.
restless dreams I walked along narrow streets of cobblestone. 'Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. Silence, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. No one dared disturb the sound of silence, and whispered in the silence